Welcome to my short rant today, June 10th, 2022, and I want to talk about the battle for Severodonetsk and what I think is going to be Putin's Pyrrhic victory. And I'm not alone in this. Frederick Kagan wrote an op-ed for Time magazine. Frederick Kagan is the director of the critical threats section of the American Enterprise Institute. I believe I got that right. And he wrote, and I highly recommend reading this op-ed in Time magazine because he really goes into a lot of issues of, a lot of things that just are not getting in the press. It's laden with a lot of little factoids. So highly recommend that. If you get nothing else, right? But please don't stop now and go there. My point, though, is that, he's making an argument that what we're seeing in the battle for Severodonetsk is that Putin is basically, he argues he's doing an information operation. He is trying to convince us and the world. He's trying to demonstrate a level of power that he doesn't have. And I'm actually myself a little concerned that you're seeing headlines. Oh, Putin approaches key military victory. And, a lot of people are going, if Russian forces take Severodonetsk, it's going to appear to be a great victory. However, when you look at it, and ISW has been talking about this, Institute for Study of War every day publishes an assessment of the Russian campaign. And about a week ago, they noted, or it's been a consistent point in their analysis, that the Russians have concentrated all available resources into this one avenue or this one axis of operation, that they've actually diverted a lot of resources from Kharkiv in the north and Kherson in the south, where the Ukrainians are pressing them, and they poured everything into taking Severodonetsk. And that, they argued that, look, this kind of artillery and occupy thing, it is, even if they take the city, and they still haven't, they aren't going to be, it's not going to be a breakthrough, right? And I think Kagan is picking up on the same theme. He definitely has connections to the ISW. He's sometimes a contributor at the ISW. But, he's saying, look, they're pushing in, they've committed a lot of resources here, and they're going to appear to have won, but they're going to have suffered heavily, and they're having a lot of trouble with force generation. There have been now, ISW just reported an 11th Molotov cocktail attack on a Russian recruiting center. They also reported just yesterday that the Russians are using 1950s landmines to put around their positions and their defensive positions, and they're using old stuff that's blowing up in transport, right? And they're using T-62 tanks again. Vintage, from the 60s. That's why it's a 62, right? It's the first year NATO saw it. So, but this is vintage material, right, that they're being forced to use. So this is a thing I think we need to keep in mind. And let's just take a quick look at Severodonetsk. Okay, here's ISW's map. Every day they produce maps. They have an interactive map. Lots of good stuff there. And the thing about Severodonetsk is, if we look at it, and I hope the pointer shows up in the video, but this line here's Severodonetsk where they're fighting. That line is the river. And you might remember this river. It flows around and it defines the line. But that river right about there is where the Russians were crossing and got whacked, right? And they had the big battle, and we saw lots of pictures of carnage and tanks in the river. And that's the river here. And it's very deep chasm. It's a very significant military a barrier. And my thing is, look, the Ukrainians are on the Russian side of the river. They're in front of the river and holding. When they get to Lysychansk, which is the sister city of Severodonetsk, they'll defend that, and they'll have a river in front of them. And the Russians are very aware they ain't getting across that river. And ISW also, in their daily things, talks about they monitor Russian mill bloggers. And Russian mill bloggers said, yeah, there's no way we can do a frontal assault. So they're dependent on these flanking movements, on this encirclement that they're trying to do from down here. This is Popasna's down here, and here's Mykolaievka. And this is where they're trying to move up and they're trying to also move from the south. They're trying to encircle the Ukrainians, but they aren't doing it, right? They're not getting there. They're pouring everything into these operations, and maybe they will, but one thing is they move at such a glacial pace, and encirclement means you move faster, you get behind someone faster than they can get out. And, now the Ukrainians may at some point have to pull back, but I'm just amazed that they haven't, right? I've been putting together with these maps. I've been taking this every day. ISW publishes a map, and I've been like stringing them together in a video to show over time how things change. Guess what? Nothing really changes. It's boring. I haven't posted it because it's boring. And the Russians are moving at such a glacial pace. It might be, like a glacier is inevitable. A glacier can't be stopped, but it also moves very slowly. And the Ukrainians are able to, nimbly move around. So meanwhile, Russia is expending massive resources on this. They're burning through their resources. They're not, apparently not being able to generate more. And so I really think, we use the term Pyrrhic victory a lot, but when they get done here, right, and they will probably take all this white in the middle, they probably will do that, but it will be at a huge cost. And so if there's a victory, it's going to be Pyrrhic. As long as the Ukrainians, well, I don't know, they haven't given up on holding the line here, and they may do it. They do crazy things all the time. I would have planned on getting the hell out of here. This is an untenable position. No way. This is all my notes from my days in the military. This would be all my notes. Nope, not going to do it. That's a bad position. We need to get out of there. Ukrainians, no, we're going to hold here because we're not in a rush. So this is what we're looking at. And so this is why I say I think we need a healthy dose of reality with the news that we're getting from the front. Thank you for listening to my short rant. I'm Dr. Dave Hayes, and though I teach at Troy University, this video is my own work. Troy University has neither approved nor reviewed the content, so there. And if you want to follow me on YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, please feel free. And if you're wondering who would employ a guy like this, or maybe you'd love to be a student, it's not an ad, but I would love to have more students. Feel free to check us out at www.troy.edu. And we're going to end up finishing off listening to Tonight at 8 by Shane Ivers.